Yo, welcome back, and on today's video I'm showing you how I made $400 trading NASDAQ this morning as an unprofitable trader. First thing I did is I marked all of my liquidity levels for the day along with my high time frame gaps. And then I'm about to do the same on ES. It's 5 minutes before market open on the replay. So the first thing I'm noticing right away is that ES is in this gap and is really close to these liquidity levels right here. And it also got out this 1 hour gap also right here. So right now I'm thinking either we're about to retrace down into this gap and come up and take out this liquidity on the top, or we're going to use this gap and have a new bearish structure all the way down to these lows. That's the first thing I'm thinking. And another reason why I'm thinking that, why I'm leaning more towards bearish, is because we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. We had 7 1 hour bullish candles. So immediately right now I'm thinking we're bound to get a bearish candle eventually. It might just be down to this gap for, retracement to push higher, but I'm expecting us to hit this gap, which is also this gap on ES. But I'm mainly bearish because, we're delivering from this high time frame gap, and we are, we've been bullish for 7 hours straight, meaning we got to get something soon. So I go down to the 5 minute after I mark all my levels. And the first thing that happens is we take out a lot of things. We have this inverse of this bullish gap. We have inverse of this gap. These are all 5 minute gaps. And another reason why I was actually bearish is because of this. As you see, when we had this, when we got into this high time frame gap, we came here and we made our equilibrium, and we hit 79 with equilibrium if you really want to count it as both. And with this massive move down, I'm already thinking, all right, we're just gonna be bearish today. So I'm really just thinking, all right, I'm getting rid of all these confluences, and I'm mainly looking bearish today. And if I'm being honest, I even thought about entering before market, once market opened, but I'm like, that'd be just stupid. It was one of those like intrusive thoughts. Can't be doing none of that. And if you guys watched a video about it yesterday, you guys know that I like these gaps to be formed when I see reversals. And that's exactly what happened. Not even 5 minutes into market opened. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, all right, this might even be a no trade day. And I notice that we take out this other bullish gap, another inverse, and we're tapping into this little gap right here. This is a 1 hour gap, so we got to keep that in mind. This is a 1 hour, and we are getting that one confluence I like again. I love the fair value gaps. We're getting another fair value gap out of this. I'm like, all right. So immediately when I'm seeing this, and even this move down right now I'm thinking, all right, I think we take out this low for sure. Maybe these ones. And these are my targets right now. And ES, since ES is the one, lagging behind a bit, I'm thinking ES is going to come around, this gap, this 1 hour gap, or maybe somewhere around these 5-minute gaps, because this is the more bullish index as of right now. So we inverse this gap on the 5-minute or the 1 hour, but it's technically not inversed because it's 8:35. And then we get a move up. So like I said, if we go to the 1 hour, it looks like we're starting to, this was all just retracement to move higher to these highs. That at this point in time, this is what I'm looking for, is these highs, because we're getting that sweep almost. So I'm gonna go again. Wait. And ES is still hitting that 1 hour level. I'm like, all right, this is looking good. I wanna retrace down a little bit, hit my equilibrium, and then I'll target these highs on ES since it's more bullish. And then we're gonna go next. And this is where I form my equilibrium. So I draw my equilibrium up. And I notice that we have, equilibrium in 79 on NASDAQ. And I'm pretty sure we have equilibrium on ES, like we did. So then I noticed that right when we tapped into this gap, because we were moving up at the beginning of this candle, and then right when we tapped into the gap, we kind of shot down. So I'm like, all right, keeping all this in mind. So I just, I'm not entering off of anything. I'm not, just seeing this big gap. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna short. I'm not doing anything like that. And then we actually take out or invalidate our equilibrium and everything. And what this is telling me is that the price is always going to want to find liquidity. And if this doesn't inverse or reverse here, then it wants more liquidity to hunt. So I'm immediately drawing the Ds. And the only thing is that we haven't inversed it or invalidated it on ES yet. So I go down to the 1 minute. And this is where I enter. It's a little bit later, I'm risking a little more. But in my eyes, I feel like I want to wait for both indexes to almost be the exact same, or at least in the exact structure like it was. Broke this structure again, even though technically never broke structure to the upside. But I like when it invalidates it and we get that close under it. That's the main thing I'm looking for. So I take my trade on NQ, and it's somewhere, I'm not for sure exactly where, because it's kind of hard to do that on replay. And I put my stop loss above this 5-minute high. And this 5-minute high is basically telling me if we really want to come up here and take this out, then it's gonna, it's just gonna run. It's gonna run because we're, breaking that structure, and that's the break of structure. Technically, I could come down here and do that, but since we haven't really formed this gap yet, because I've only taken 1 minute, so it's technically not a fair value gap yet. So I put my stop loss up here, and right now I'm targeting these lows. So like I said, I take my partials a little bit shorter. I think it was somewhere around there. This one was, this is just rough estimate, but I like to, make sure I don't get faked out or anything. And that's like the whole point of the whole point of, you know, getting my liquidity levels a little bit closer. And actually, this is going to be a good example on why. So we enter this. I mean, it's looking good. Only, you know, thing that I'm worried about right now is this 5-minute gap. That's on ES and NASDAQ, I believe. Yeah. All right. But we have this, you know, bearish gap. Not yet, but we're about to. And that's really what, you know, I'm like, all right, this is good. So I skip one, and as you see, you know, I'm low key not really getting edged right now, but I mean, technically I'm still in drawdown. We formed this gap. I'm actually getting edged. I was getting edged on the market today. So nice. And I'm like, all right, it's fine, it's fine. It was just forming that gap. It's whatever. And boom. All right. And this is where I got a little nervous at. I'm not gonna lie. You know, we invalidate that gap on NQ. And I'm like, there is no way we leave this low, at least this low, and we don't fill it or anything, or we don't take it out, whatever you want to call it. I'm like, we are bound to take this low out. So I'm staying in it, you know, I'm not just gonna exit. It is what it is. Once I enter, I enter. I'll go break even at some points, but besides that, I'm letting my trades ride. But on ES, since they are correlated indexes, it's getting a little messy. Alright, let me just remove some of this stuff. We have this 5-minute gap. I'll get rid of this equilibrium. We already entered. Alright, that looks a little bit more clean. Alright, and then we got this 5-minute gap on ES, and we didn't invalidate it. And I believe this is what won my trade today, was because ES didn't really invalidate this, and we haven't taken out this 1 hour low, or, well, 1 hour gap, because I don't think there is 1 hour lows on here. Yeah. I mean, we'd have to go all the way down here. So, again, that's why NQ was leading, because it had some down here, and it was just more bearish. So we have this gap on ES. Really need this gap to hold, or it just won't be good. And here we go, being edged again. I'm like, all right, at least this candle, you know, we invalidated this first fair value gap, this 5-minute one, so we're gonna get rid of that. Another inverse. Still have this 1 hour that we actually inverse because it's 905. I'm gonna get rid of this equilibrium real quick, make it a little bit more clean. And I'm like, all right, now I just have to worry about this little 5-minute gap. This little guy right here. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I was getting a little nervous in this trade. I'm like, there's no way we just come here and we just react off a 5-minute gap and that causes a chain reaction. So I'm like, all right, ES right here, you gotta save me. And what does it do? It shoots back up, back down to drawdown. Really just step one, am I really gonna inverse this gap? And we go again, and as you see, I actually hit my partials here, and I did hit my partials here. Like I said, this line right here is my partials, but this is more like a rough estimate. So I hit my partials here, and at this point I'm break even. And another reason why I went break even was because we tapped into this 1 hour gap. And as you see, we're also in this giant 1 hour gap already. But I'm honestly, I didn't even mind this. So I noticed that we take into this 1 hour gap. I'm like, all right, we're low key, you know, respecting it on the 1 hour time frame. So I go break even on this trade. Let me zoom in here. Now I'm break even, you know, I think I'm up like 390-ish, something around there. And I believe I get stopped out in this next candle. I do. So I get stopped out. I'm like, it's all right. You know, I hit what I wanted to hit, and I'm break even. Green on the day. And yeah, that's how I made $400 trading NQ as an unprofitable trader. As we see here, you know, kind of just goes up, I believe. Yeah. I mean, again, you like if I really wanted to, I'm not gonna lie, you know, take out this low, boom, equilibrium 79, and then what do we have here? We have gaps. I would have entered probably on this break of structure here, and I would have targeted this gap and probably all the way up here. Maybe not all the way on this London session or Asia session. I'm not really sure what session that is. But I would have just targeted at least here. Partials here. Probably half my contracts gone here. And I mean, it would still be running right now. So that's how I made $400 trading NQ as an unprofitable trader who hasn't, you know, passed a funded account. Yeah, that's all. Peace.